Hello everyone, this is Vibha Nasheen. Today in the Remain Victorious audio live, we are trying something very different. The essence remains the same, but you're going to enjoy this. This evening I was at a bookstore and I picked up a book. I was just running through a few pages of the book. And the first few pages that I read immediately made me, you know, pick up this book and buy it. So I felt, why not do a little book read today? So the book that I'm reading is The Sufi Path of Annihilation by Nevitt O. Ergin. I have already put the name on the image as well as on the title of the post that I'm going live with. So let's hear out the story. The story is Roxane. She carefully counted all the money I gave her and said, "Where is the rest? You are $500 short." I looked at her face. There was neither beauty nor mercy there. Instead, I saw the pleasure of a predator in her eyes. "Mrs. Hunter," I said, attempting to appeal to her generosity, "this is all I have. I have my principles never to compromise with a tenant," she replied. Mrs. Hunter was my landlord, a round, middle-aged, matronly lady with one arm. She always tilted her shoulder to her amputated arm's side. Although I was curious, I never dared ask about her missing arm. I was 2 months behind in rent. When I gave her the rent now, she demanded that I also add a $500 security payment. I realized she was determined. "Give me a little time," I begged. "Here," she said, "this is your eviction notice. If I don't have the money by 5 p.m., the locks will be changed and your belongings will be out." When she left, I was shaking. I looked around. This was the house I had lived in for most of my life. It had become another body for me. The geometry of every space was carved into my mind and my existence. I could walk through the rooms and hallway in the dark without any problem. It was not only me, the whole community lived here. Anytime I got a little money, I bought exotic plants like quince and pomegranate trees, different types of jasmine and honeysuckle, and even a couple of grape trunks. I had made a small pond and put goldfish in it, and my little backyard had turned into a paradise. I bribed the neighborhood birds with fancy seeds. Blue jays and cardinals came with their cheerful song and became permanent residents of this garden. Guests used to say, "Why are you spending so much money? You're just a tenant." But my father always told me, "Son, be a tenant in this world. If someone tells you whose tenant you are, kiss his hand." I knew he was right. Since we are all temporary in this world, we shouldn't get attached to anything. That's why I didn't consider buying the house, even when I had money. But now, I was forced to say goodbye to everyone, hoping that whoever came after me would take care of them. And when I went outside, I realized how easily one could become homeless. I felt uneasy and scared. All the comforts and security that a home provided were gone. A sense of urgency was clouding me and my thinking process. I had a couple of hours to find $500. I didn't have the talent or labor skills worth that kind of money. My basic source of income was my social security check, which came at the beginning of each month. I had used that already to cover the rent. That left me with one last chance to borrow from friends and relatives. I don't have many friends and relatives though. The only friend I have is a poor, homeless fellow whom I am sure will just say, "Well, you can come and join me." The only relative I have is my rich younger brother who would give me a long lecture about my age, saying I should move into a nursing home. No wonder the rich become rich, I thought to myself. It's because of their greed, and the poor stay poor because they are generous. I was walking on a narrow street, which ended at a small park on the shore. I felt I was being followed by someone. I turned around and saw it was a small black dog that I hadn't even paid attention to. I increased my pace, but the dog did the same. I stopped and turned back suddenly. The dog stopped too. We looked at each other. It was a darling. I said, "Look, I don't know what you want from me, but it's not a good time. I'm not sure if I have a place to stay, but I know for sure that I don't need a dog right now. Get lost." I have no idea if it understood my frustration from the tone of my voice, but its tiny yellow eyes were full of joy behind the long black hair on its face. Its wet tongue was sticking out as it shook its head. I started walking fast again. After about 100 yards, I stopped and looked back at the dog, still sitting in the same place. I turned on the next corner and then the next, doing everything I could do so the couldn't find me. I felt relief getting rid of this nuisance. It was 3 in the afternoon. I remembered I had 2 hours left to find my money. I had already given up though. Total submission took over my sorrow and hopelessness. I walked toward the park, but then suddenly realized the dog was still after me. I slowed down and it passed me, continuing on to the park. This time, I followed the dog. I sat on the bench and it came to sit in front of me. I wasn't paying much attention. The park was empty. When I went to use the restroom, I noticed a small bulletin board on the wall. Among all kinds of community news and advertisements, a photocopied photo caught my attention. It read, "My name is Roxane. Have you seen me?" There was a picture of a small black dog, and written underneath were the words, "Reward $500. A telephone number was at the bottom. I didn't go to the toilet instead. I left. The dog was sitting in the same spot when I yelled, "Roxanne! Roxanne!" Then the little dog ran to me. Friends, this is a story which I read standing there at the bookshop. And this made me pick up this book because this is how immensely, beautifully, and surprisingly the divine works for us. If you start believing in miracles, miracles happen. Your trust, your faith, and what you believe in starts manifesting in your life. What are you thinking? the man was looking for $500. He found it in the most unexpected place, in the most unexpected manner. Miracles happen. 2019 has been a big miracle for me, and I look forward to more such miracles in 2020. This is how you perceive life. This is how you expect. Keep your expectations up, enjoy the story, and gather the much necessary trust in the divine plan. I wish you all remain victorious, and I'll catch you up again next week. Take care. Bye bye.